Back Korea. Here we are, Singapore live. Nobody is online. No, nobody's in here.
They're coming though. They're coming.
They come. So she's asking. So I'm using my phone because the internet here is not very good. So we set up.
Your hotspot, right?
Yeah. Hotspot again. Sorry, actually it is Cord. This is what this is the big picture. Should we keep it like this or should we even make it closer?
Get out of the way.
We see everything. Musicians and everything. I'm not sure we want that. Maybe we should
The other option. Yeah, the only danger is someone trips on it, right?
Yeah. That's already better. That's already better.
Yeah.
Well, maximum we will be delayed.
We still got 15 minutes.
That's what we could. So now I will fine tune when we start.
That might check.
You see, it works? Working, yeah, good. Terrific. So now we will say hello officially for you and for the night. It's working.
Ah, there we go.
Hey. I see you, so say something nice. Hi,
Hello.
Natava. Natava.
Welcome to Singapore.
She's an old member.
How are you? I hope I didn't ramble too much. It was what it was. Whatever happens. Yes. It's craziness, right? Yeah. I actually had, they were campaigning quite a bit last year. And I don't know, I'm a nobody, but they were coming up to me. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember last year during that process, they come up to, they want to sit down and talk to me. People would be directing them to me. I'm like, why do you want to talk to me? But anyway, it's fine. Yeah. Unfortunately, the AGM last year was probably not the board's best performance either, to be honest. You know, Ken, he's a nice guy, but I think he's had enough time on the board. Korea is very good. Well, I still love the topic, so me too. Yeah, exactly. Right, so it looks good, right? Nothing that is insurmountable, even that big a deal. Some people just get a little upset because they don't know else to be
Nice to see you.
Good.
Well, that's true. I agree. And the guys that do good work, you know, it's incredibly unfulfilling for them, I guess.
Christian wants to know if the air cons are all fit.
Okay. My wife's nodding.
Yes. That's the only thing is a temporary
Partners in solving them.
Solving crimes, yes. Yeah, well, I hope so. God, I hope so. Yes, absolutely.
Maybe you don't have to sit anywhere specific. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, surviving. Andrew, how are you? Happy New Year. Nice to see you. Adrian and Alexandra, they'll be I don't think the kids get lost though. Wow, it's all that handsome. Oh, but you, yeah, nice, very.
No, I'm just waiting my turn to get down the aisle.
You've been waiting all your life. Here's your
Sounds like a
chance.
song. Yeah.
I just thought it sounded like you were getting married. She just got back from Dublin.
Great.
Well, technically, it's a tax inversion. Well, they're really unfortunately in San Francisco. But I think technically, but they have big offices. Tax inversion.
Tax, yeah.
You don't want to sit right there?
Not as happy. I don't think she's as happy, I sat next to her where we had a whole chat. She said
I'm working. I graduated with Jesse.
Oh, great.
And
hope you did. What a fun
yeah.
place. So you just got there.
Yeah, I just got there a few weeks ago. And it's kind of like my gap year. I deferred a job in consulting, and there's a little bit of a Brown network there. And I'm working for another Brown grad and just living. So.
What a fun place.
And yeah, and it's so amazing. I got to come here and spend the holidays with the Alice's.
Picking up some that's a tough language, isn't it?
It's very tough. Very tough.
I travel a lot, and of all
Yeah.
the people I deal with, those are the hardest to understand English. These people who speak English. It's so hard.
But I am. Come on. All right. It was nice meeting you.
Shana Tov, Gedushas, Happy New Year. It's wonderful to be celebrating together this new year, 5780. So we have a couple of new things for our new year, if you would have noticed. The first one are the new books that you'll see on your seats. I'm not sure what's going on with the sound, but hopefully we'll do that. We have new books with us. Don't hear me in the back? No. You can use the wireless mic. Okay. So firstly, with big thanks to the Siemens family especially, we have new books to celebrate Rosh Hashanah with this year. A prayer that tends to last for a generation or so, and our books from last year needed renewing. This book came out this year. It's full of new readings in case you want to read something other than the prayers during the services. Full of new translations, gender neutral translations, and it also has full transliteration for those of you who follow through the transliterations. It's very exciting that we have new books, and we should say Shehechiyanu for these new books. So let's say it together, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Shehechiyanu V'kiyanu Higyanu B'zman Hazeh. Amen. And the second new thing, well, it's not really a thing, the second novelty for this year is that we have a new cantor, Cantor Martin Steinhaus, Cantor Marti. We're very lucky, very fortunate that he has come to us all the way from Toronto, Canada. We're also lucky to have with us his... You didn't hear him sing yet, but he's going to need a bigger round of applause than that. We're lucky that he's here, come all this way. We're very fortunate to have his wife with us as well, Rachel, and tonight from Melbourne, his daughter Rivka and his grandson Brett. Welcome to the Steinhaus family. Welcome to you all. And I believe that your sister Brett Haley is following us on FaceTime as well. So Shana Tov to her in Melbourne too. We're going to begin with a nigun. So over to you, Cantor Marti. Let's get this new year started.
Thank you. Oh, Gabrielle, do we have any microphone? Is it working?
Yours is working.
No? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You can start. It's okay. It
It is? Now it's working. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes? Can you hear me in the back? Good. I'm going to ask you to listen, and then I'm going to ask you to sing a melody. And we're going to do it as a nigun, as a song without words. Because later there are words that go with it. But as long as you know the melody, then you'll hear very familiar with the words. Okay? So I'm going to do a little bit, and I'm going to ask you to join me. Okay, Sidonia, let's, whoops, that's a good start. So, we're going to do a little bit of this. Lie, 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 lie. I want to hear that. Lie, 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 lie. Oh my God. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Okay, just from the beginning to there, okay? Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Next part. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Okay, right from the beginning, all you young people that are here, just because we're using the word lie doesn't mean it's okay. All right, let's go. Okay, I'm going to let you stop with that. There's more to it, but when we do it later, we'll do at least do that part together. Okay?
Fantastic. Please let's rise for the lighting of the festival candles. You're on page 9. Amen. Source of blessing, eternal God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on this festival. Rosh Hashana, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'hiyanu v'azman ha'chesed. Please be seated. We're going to turn back to page 5 to the Hineni, to the Libra prayer. From Hineni, page 5, over the page 6. One probably we all know, Hine Matov Manayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad, page 6. And on the facing page 7, another psalm to get us into the festive mood, Psalm 121, Esa Inai. Some of the tunes we sing tonight are familiar, and some of them are a little bit different. Kantor Mati, would you tell us a little bit more about what you're singing for us?
Well, there are traditional prayer modes. There's one for the weekday, and there's one for Shabbat. There's one for the morning service, one for the evening service, and one for the festival service. But there is a special prayer mode for the Yamim Noraim, the High Holy Days. So you're going to notice a little bit of a change, and it's not because I want to trip you up. It's because Rosh Hashanah is special. Yom Kippur is very special. And we have to honor it the way it was meant to be. So, I promise you this. By the time we're finished at the end of Yom Kippur, you will be very familiar with all of the melodies.
Please rise. We're going to continue on page 12, the counting of the year. Eloheinu ואלוהי אבותינו, יהי רצון שנזכה לבותיך בשנת 5780. אלוהי עולם, ברך אותנו ואת כל בית ישראל בחידוש ימינו בשמחה ושלום, בנחמה ובאומץ לב, בחילוץ עצמות רוח איתנה, יפחי שפתנו מקובל ורצוי לפניך בפרוס השנה החדשה, לעד מודים אנחנו לך על מתנת החיים. Our God and God of our ancestors, may we know your blessings in the year 5780. Eternal One, bless us and the whole house of Israel with renewed life, happiness and peace, comfort and courage, resilience and strength. May the words of our heart be acceptable to you in the new year that stretches before us. We are forever grateful for the gift of life. We come to the call to prayer, the Baruch Hu. We're going to open the ark. Please be seated. Let's continue in English on page 14. Blessed are you, eternal God. Your great name fills the universe with majestic might. Your word creates twilight and dusk as your wisdom opens the gates of night. Your discernment separates the changing seasons and causes the passage of time. The stars arrayed across the sky reveal your design. You roll out the cycle of darkness and light, shaping day and night. You sweep away day and carry the world into nightfall, setting day apart from night. You are God of all we can perceive, and all that is beyond our perception. Living eternal God, be our sovereign to the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv haravim. We continue over the page 16, with Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat
We continue on page 20.
And on page 22, truth and faith, these are fundamental to our existence. God alone is their source, and we are Israel, a people of God. Our sovereign saves us from tyranny, redeems us from its violence through countless wonders, from its brutality through great feats beyond measure. We are Israel, a people of God, the giver of life, who would not let our feet give way, the maker of miracles for us against Pharaoh, of signs and portents in the land of Egypt, the one who brought our people Israel from its midst to enjoying freedom. Witnesses to this heroic might, the people thanked and praised God by name, freely accepting the reign of heaven. Then Moses and Miriam and all Israel sang to you this song of joy.
מי כמוך בדין אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא זהינו עושה
When your children saw your sovereign might, the splitting of the sea before Moses and Miriam, they responded, "This is my God." And they said, "The Eternal will reign till the end of time. As it is written, the Eternal One will save Jacob and redeem him from one stronger than himself. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael." Over the page, Hashkivenu, page 26.
את שלומך, ותקננו עצה טובה מלפניך, ויושיענו והוציאנו למען שמך. ויגן בעדנו, ויסר מעלינו,
Please rise on page 28. Tiku v'chodesh shofar v'keser leyom hagenu yihok kol Yisrael hu mishpat l'Elohei Yaakov. Sound the shofar for the new moon of our festival day, for this is the law of Israel, the way of the God of Jacob. Chasi Kadosh. We continue with the Amidah starting on page 30.
מלך עוזר, מושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה.
אתה גיבור אלוהים אדוני מחיי מתים הצרב לחושיע, משיב הרוח ומביא את הגשם, מזריח השמש ומביא את הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים והופך חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מחמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. Please be seated. Let's continue at the top of page 35. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, kodashim v'chol yom yihaluch hasela. You are holy, your name is holy. Seekers of holiness praise you day by day, etc. Let's read together. And so, eternal God, give all creation the gift of awe. Turn our fear to reverence, that our witnesses of wonder, perceiving all nature as a prayer comes alive. We bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power. We yearn for connection with all that lives, doing your will with wholeness of heart. All inspiring is your creation, all encompassing your transcendent name. And so, Eternal One, give your people the gift of honor. Bless with praise those who praise you. Bless with hope those who seek you. Give your believers a basis for faith, true happiness for the land of Israel, true joy in Jerusalem. May the sparks of David, your servant, soon grow bright enough for us to see. And so may the righteous envision a future bright with joy, and the upright rejoice in a world where evil has no voice, and the rule of malevolence fades like wisps of smoke. Good people everywhere will celebrate, for the dominion of arrogance will have been removed from the earth. You and you alone, O God, will reign over creation upon Mount Zion, home of your presence. And in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you, as the psalmist believed, the Eternal shall reign for all time, your God, O Zion, for all generations. Hallelujah. Kadosh Atah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch hu Rosh
אתה בחרתנו מכל העמים, אהבת אותנו ורצית בנו, ורמתנו מכל הלשונות וקידשתנו במצוותיך, וקראתנו מלכנו לעבודתך, ושמך הגדול והקדוש עלינו קראת. ותיתן לנו בני אלוהינו באהבה את יום הזיכרון הזה, יום תרועה מקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. Let's read together. Our God and God of the generations before us, may the knowledge of our deeds ascend and come before you. May it be heard, recorded and recalled, reaching you and winning your favor, together with the memory of our ancestors, the memory of your sacred city Jerusalem, and the memory of your people, the family of Israel. May we be remembered for safety and well-being, for love and compassion, for life and for peace on this day of remembrance.
Adonai Eloheinu,
Amen. Favor us with words of deliverance and mercy. Show us the depth of your care. God, we await your redemption, for you reign with grace and compassion. Eloheinu ואלוהי אבותינו, מלוך על כל העולם כולו בכבודך, ותינשא על כל הארץ בקריך. Our God and God of our ancestors, in your glory reign over the infinite expanse of space and time. In your grandeur be exalted, through your power show us your reality, then all who dwell on earth shall understand that you are their maker. Astound us with the beauty of your presence, so that every breath of life shall say, eternal is the God of Israel, all-embracing God's rules and sovereignty.
Ashenu b'mitzvotecha, nitnech Elokeinu b'toratecha, sabeinu mitodecha, v'samcheinu b'shuatecha, v'taher libeinu, v'taher libeinu, liyadecha be'emet, be'emet, v'taher libeinu, v'taher libeinu, liyadecha
כי אתה אלוקים אמת, שדברך אמת וקיים לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל ביום הזיכרון. Continue with what's saying.
It's
Our God and God of all generations, to you we are grateful forever. Rock and protector of our lives, your saving power endures from age to age. We thank you and tell the tale of your praise, your power in our lives, your caring for our souls, the constant miracle of your kindness. Evening, morning and noon we call you goodness, for your compassion never ends. We call you mercy, for your love has no limit. We call you hope, now and for all time. And for all these gifts, God of majesty, may your name come to be blessed and praised. Our gratitude a daily offering until the end of time. Inscribe the people of your covenant for a life of goodness, and may your life resound with gratitude and faith in praise of your name. God, you free us and strengthen us. Baruch atah Adonai atah shekha ula'ah na'eh l'chodot. On the facing page, let's read together. Peace, profound and lasting, all-embracing. Peace, let this be your gift to Israel, your people. In your goodness, author of peace, bless us and all people. Every season, every hour, with the peace that's yours to give. Let us and the whole family of Israel be remembered and inscribed in the book of life. May it be a life of goodness, blessing and prosperity. May it be a life of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Osei HaShalom. Spend a little moment in silent meditation. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, soul of eternity, my rock and my redeemer. We turn to page 52, Avinu Malkeinu. We're going to open the ark. Please rise. Avinu Malkeinu, strong was the faith of generations before us. In exile they proclaimed enduring hope. In the shadow of persecution, they affirmed a transcendent love and compassion. Ours is a different age, less confident and certain, more tentative in its trust. There are many who say to the work of their hands, "You are our gods." But when our worship centers on our own creations, we feel less gratitude, more doubt and despair. This is the paradox of our spiritual lives. We grow smaller in self-exaltation, nobler when we reach for you. On this night of return, let us find the humility to come close to you and open ourselves to your presence. For you are absent only when we fail to make room for you in our hearts, distant only when we turn away from you. Now, as others have done before us, let us overcome doubt and speak these words of affirmation. Let's read together. We call you Avinu, as loving parent, forgive our wrongs and failings, accept us in our human frailty. We call you Malkeinu, as sovereign of our souls, help us rise in our brokenness to build a world of shalom. To this vision we offer ourselves anew.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Shalanu Lifanecha.
Please be seated. Big thank you to Cantor Marty, to our singers, to Stephanie, Catherine and Sam, to our players, Alvaro, Gabby and Sidi for creating such a wonderful musical atmosphere tonight. There's an old story from a Rosh Hashanah in a synagogue of yesteryear. The shul had ushers, one of whom greeted an older, elderly woman as she entered the sanctuary. He gave her a matzor, a prayer book, and walked her into the synagogue. He asked her very politely, "Where would you like to sit?" She answered, "The front row, please." The usher asked, "Are you sure that's where you'd like to sit? The rabbi's really boring." The woman said, "Do you happen to know who I am?" "No." "I'm the rabbi's mother." She replied indignantly. "Do you know who I am?" asked the usher. "No," she said. "Good." I think that's quite a funny story, but especially funny for those of you who remember my mother, Zichrono Livracha, sitting here in the front row of the Dutch Club now 3 years ago. Rosh Hashanah, like Passover, is one of the times in the Jewish year when we feel the presence most heavily of our ancestors standing here among us. And we acknowledge the weight of the memories of earlier Rosh Hashanahs, either here in Singapore or in our other communities around the world. I don't know about you, but the year that's passed felt like the toughest year of my life. It started well, experiencing the miracle of birth, becoming a father last October, and naming my son at his circumcision on the 8th day of his life. I think I named him well. We made the rookie, soon-to-be parents' mistake of sharing the name we were considering with my mother-in-law before the baby was born. A word of advice for future parents-to-be: don't do it. Now, there have been quite a few cultural differences with my Ashkenazi in-laws. For example, when I wanted to invite Daklon to our wedding last year, my father-in-law ended up inviting not Daklon, but Kaflon. I don't think anyone gets that joke unless perhaps you're Israeli, but I forgive the lack of laughter. Never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, got it.
When it came, someone got it? No, okay, never mind. Could wait, next year, tell it again. And when it came to the desire to name my son, my mother-in-law was not, let's say, an enthusiastic fan of the name Nissim, claiming it's the typical name of an Israeli plumber or a car mechanic, and not her future grandson. Well, plumbers and car mechanics are to my ears as, if not more, useful than rabbis and artists. And that's why at his bris I named him Nissim Yonah, to the consternation of my in-laws. But it was a bit of a tease and a little joke on them, as Shelley and I had already agreed that the name on his passport would be Noam Yonah. The Yonah is after my father, John, Zichrono Livracha, who was Avram Yonah. And the other part to my little joke was that a boy called Noam needed a different Hebrew name. But as I insisted to my new Israeli family, this extra naming was an essential part of my diasporic Jewish culture and heritage. But in any case, for all that he is a sweet and pleasant Noam, I'm glad I named him Nissim, meaning miracles, in the plural. Because so far the first 11 months of his life have been full of miracles, and long may these miracles continue. In February, it was a miracle that Shelley, his mum, understood that something was wrong and insisted against all my nonchalant protestations that he'd be fine in the morning. With her maternal instinct, she forced us to go to A&E at 11 p.m. on Saturday night and get Noam checked out. He required immediate surgery on a large kidney tumour and was operated on by a miraculously kind and deft surgeon. The same happened in April. Shelley would not take no for an answer when the doctors told her that Noam had gastric flu, and that's when they eventually discovered his brain tumours. One required emergency surgery the next morning, and again, miraculously, the brain surgeon did a great job removing it in its entirety, despite its large size. Then, whilst recovering in intensive care, they discovered a hole in his lung, and that he also had multiple lung tumours. As shock came after shock, blow after blow, we were supported by so many of you in this community, something for which Shelley and I are so eternally grateful, and one day Noam will be as well. Not just through rallying round and helping the three of us, both day and night, accompanying us in the hospital, even to the point that Noam would escape Egypt and experience his first Seder in the ICU, but also through the incredible fundraising on Noam's behalf, to which so many of you have contributed. We have been overwhelmed by your wholehearted support and generosity to save our child. Noam's life was saved not just by his mum's vigilance and his surgeon's excellence, but also by the miraculous level of support from this community, from across the Jewish communities in Singapore, and from members of my two communities in Europe, in Belgium and in Luxembourg. The miracles did not stop there. Despite this support, we understood that Noam could not be treated in Singapore forever. Noam has 2 passports, and our options were either to bring him to London and to the public health care, the NHS of my country, or back to his birthplace, Rambam Hospital in Haifa. We chose the latter option, and since the 1st of May, he's been treated there in Haifa. A precarious flight through Bangkok, Noam was on a lung drain at the time, was swiftly followed by another brain operation in Rambam to remove the remaining tumour there. And following this, he's undergone 7 rounds of chemotherapy to shrink away the tumours in his lungs. I choose to focus on the miracles of this year, because otherwise the theme of my year would be Da'enu. Each problem by itself would have been more than enough for us. Life is not easy. The world we live in is not the world as it ought to be. It's hard to find any theology that renders acceptable illness in such a young child. Yet despite life being at times so difficult, it can still be very sweet. This little boy, Noah Nissim, is growing up very nicely. He'll be 11 months tomorrow, and he's already learning to stand on his own 2 feet. His strength and his good humor, despite all he's undergone, is remarkable. And Shelley and I take power from this resilient little boy. I wish I could tell you now that everything is going to be okay, but I'm just a rabbi. I can neither see nor promise the future. But we're optimistic. I'm not sure whether pride is innate or inherited, but it's already clear that this little boy too carries the weight of quite a lot of parental pride upon his narrow shoulders. Not promising the future is a challenge for all of us, and especially at Rosh Hashanah when we consider this year ahead. We know how fragile life can be. None of us is a machine. We all have our own health issues, be they minor or major. And we also recognize that some things are beyond even the powers and the miracles of modern medicine. However much we plan and control things, some things are beyond and out of our control. And as Jews, in our yearning to be inscribed in the book of life this Rosh Hashanah, we have only our 3 traditional tools to fall back on: teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah, repentance, prayer, and charity, to give us any semblance of control. These tools we use on Rosh Hashanah, also known as Yom Hadin, the Day of Judgment. These tools we use to try and help to tip the scales of justice back in our favor, that we all be inscribed for another year of life. When we repent, we relieve ourselves of the burdens of all the things we know we should or should not have done, and remind ourselves of our human frailty and fragility. When we pray, we focus our hearts on something beyond ourselves. This year I found myself, during Noam's surgeries, praying more intensely than ever before. Nothing seemed too much to try, whether it was amulets or invoking ancestral protection to guard Noam in the operating theatre, whether making promises to God, begging and bartering. And when someone tells me they're praying for Noam, I tell them, please continue. Because it seems that God is listening to one of us, whoever that might be. Noam's on the Mishabera list, not just in all 3 synagogues of this country of Singapore, but far and wide, across Asia, Europe, North America, Israel, and Australia. And most recently I was informed that they're even praying for him in the historic synagogue on the Caribbean island of Curacao. And of course, not just by Jews, adherents of several other faiths have been praying for Noam as well. Please continue. There's a story that a woman once stood before God, her heart breaking from the pain and injustice in the world. Dear God, she cried out, look at all the suffering, the anguish and distress in your world. Why don't you send help? God responded, I did. I sent you. This reminds us that we must act as well as pray. And tzedakah, the giving of charity, of support, both time and money, when we give, this truly has the power to save from death, as it says in the book of Proverbs, tzedakah matzil mimavet, tzedakah saves from death. We cannot promise that everything will be okay. We cannot control the world we live in. But through teshuvah, tefillah, and tzedakah, we can improve this world and make it more livable and bearable for ourselves and for others. And that's maybe the best we can do. As Rabbi Jonathan Sachs has reminded us, to be a Jew is to live for the simple things, for love, for family, and for community. Life is sweet when touched by the divine. Sometimes these simple things interfere with each other. In my case, to live both for family and for community. The problem we have is that Noam is currently uninsurable in Singapore, and so he cannot live here anymore. Unlike in countries with public health insurance, or even in the United States since Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act of 2011, here in Singapore, insurance companies can and do exclude insuring people with pre-existing conditions. I know this affects some of you as well. In our case, for my family, this means that we can no longer live in Singapore, and so regrettably we must leave the UHC. Not immediately. I'm committed to commuting backwards and forwards for the next year or so. But you must now start looking for my successor, someone who will ensure the continuation of our remarkable success together. Our successes are many. I don't feel the need to enumerate them. I think it's pretty clear what an awesome community we have, and how these 5 years together have helped build this community and bring us all together. We've built Jewish communal life both in Singapore and across Asia. In January, as we celebrated the 25th birthday of the UHC, we saw the whole region come together for the ATJ Summit, the largest ever gathering of progressive Jews in Asia. Tonight, we are streaming live to one of those communities, Hakila in Seoul, Korea, including this evening to one of our members celebrating with them, Adam Kepler. We're also streaming to the Gelmans, Bill and Bing, who are aiming to build a new Reform community in the Philippines, where they live now in Manila. This high holiday sees progressive rabbis again visiting emerging communities in Bangkok, in Bali, and in Yangon. And for the first time, a Reform rabbi will lead services in Taipei, alongside their 101-year-old legendary rabbi, Ephraim Einhorn, who's been working as a rabbi in Taiwan since 1975. We also know that there are more than 20 Jews celebrating together tonight in Laos. Actually, I even know now where to buy chicken liver in Vientiane. There's nothing quite like a WhatsApp group for the oversharing of such vital information. It will be very hard for me personally to leave the UHC and all of you and all of this behind. This year I learned the truth of the old Yiddish saying, Man tracht and God lacht. People plan and God laughs. Who would have thought that from one week to the next I would go from the high of being raised aloft in a chair alongside our Rabbi Emeritus Lenny Thol at the 25th Gala in the ballroom of the American Club, to the ultimate low of A&E in Gleneagles that following Saturday night. But that's the life we're living. It has highs and lows. Life is short and it's up to us to use it well. And for all my deracination and feeling violently uprooted from our midst, living in Israel is not without its pleasant surprises. I've spoken before about the remarkable society that exists in Noam's oncology ward. Jews and Arabs, both doctors and patients, working and living alongside each other in harmony. Disease does not discriminate as people do, and Jewish and Christian, Druze and Muslim families all find ourselves in the same unhappy boat. The other day, Shelly and I were in a lift at Rambam Hospital when a doctor in his blue overall said to me, "Hey, I know you, but do you know who I am?" Surprised, I took a closer look, and lo and behold, it was Ahmad Hamoud. Ahmad Hamoud, my old roommate and buddy from my party days in the dorms of the University of Haifa, where I was studying in the Ulpan several years ago. Ahmad was then a medical student. Now he's qualified and is working as a junior doctor in Rambam. Life has a habit of throwing up surprises, and not all of them are bad. And it's the power of love and friendship, of kinship and community, that makes our lives more bearable in uncertain times. I would like to finish with a prayer that resonates with me, especially this year, and one that I hope will do so with you as well. May I begin this year fresh and open to the possibility of transformation. Though the future is uncertain, I release this past year with all its difficulties and joys. I open my heart to receive the blessings of the new year. May I return to my true self and be strengthened as I continue my journey of Tikkun Halev, repairing the heart, of Tikkun HaNefesh, repairing the soul, and of Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. L'Shana Tova U'Tukah, may this new year be a sweet one, and one full of repair for all of us. May it be happy and healthy. Amen. Amen. We're going to continue with the blowing of the shofar. We're going to turn in our books to page 196. I'd like to invite up our shofar blowers. Annabelle? And if you don't like to stand up, the kids want to come to the front so they can hear better. Please come to the front, please. Let's say the blessing for the shofar together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar. V'shachiyanu baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shachiyanu v'kimanu v'hiyanu l'zman ha'zeh. Tekiah. Shevarim tuah. Tekiah. Shevarim. Tekiah. Tekiah. Tuah. Tekiah Gadala.
Sifteinu yirav lefonecha, Elam v'nisa. Sifteinu yirav lefonecha, Elam v'nisa. Medinu mazin mabit u'makshif lekol tekiyateinu. Medinu mazin mabit u'makshif lekol tekiyateinu, ותקבל ברחמים ברחמים וברצון סדר מלכותנו, ותקבל ברחמים ברחמים וברצון סדר מלכותנו.
We stay standing. We continue with the Aleinu on page 58. Aleinu on page 58.
Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה יוצר ראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ. ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינות עוזו, בגביהם מרומם הוא אלוהינו אמוד ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלאכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Let all who dwell on earth acknowledge that unto you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you, eternal God, let them pay homage, let them give glory to your honored name. Let all accept the yoke of your reign, that you may rule over us soon and forever. For sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory. As it is written in your Torah, Adonai will reign forever and ever. As the prophet announced, the Eternal shall be sovereign over all the earth. On that day the Eternal shall be one, and God's name shall be one. We turn to the Mourner's Kaddish on page 63. Our thoughts turn to loved ones whose death is taken from us this year, and those who died at the season years past. Our hearts open as well to the wider circles of loss in our community and wherever grief touches the human family. In particular, we think of those who passed away this past year. Reuben Lev, Ben Mordechai, Malka Bat Leza Bachaya, Shalom Berman, David Rabin, Leah Bat Yoshua V'Masha Gil, Yisrael Ze'ev Ben Shregar, Stephanie Gray, Samuel Gershik, Israel Stern, Moshe Ben Simcha Bunim Halevi Begolda, Yudah Tzvi Ben Nachum, Hinda Malka Bat Yosef, Bina Binyamina Bat Moshe, Rachel Bat Baruch, Yoshua Ben Avraham, and Helen Miller. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be a blessing in this new year and always. Let's say the Kaddish prayer together. Yitkadam v'yitkadash shemeh Yalmad yivrach v'yutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael v'acharav v'zmachari v'gru amen Yehei shemei v'barach v'barach le'olam v'l'mei al-maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitvarach v'yitnona v'yitnasei Yitala v'yitale v'yitala shemei v'kushach v'yitvu Le'ela v'le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata Tushbachata v'nekamata Ta'yuan v'yalma v'gru amen Yehei Shema Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu Yavchol Yisrael v'gru amen Osei Shalom Amar V'yasei Shalom Aleinu Yavchol Yisrael v'gru amen. Please be seated. We pass now to the President of the UHC, Yoni Garberg, to say a few words.
Shana Tova, everyone. I'm Yoni Garber, President of the UHC. Shana Tova to all the members of the UHC and our visitors from abroad. Thank you for celebrating Rosh Hashana 5780 with us. I especially wanted to welcome our High Holy Days cantor, Marty Steinhaus, who's been making noise with the UHC daily since Wednesday. A lot of work went into making this holiday season special, from recruiting a new cantor to choosing the right key for every prayer, from the new machzors we purchased to slicing the apples and honey cakes. Just right. A big thanks to Gabriel Zelansky and all the musicians that you will see today and tomorrow and throughout the holiday. And to our festivals and Gabbai teams for organizing everything else. Normally, I or someone else would spend tonight recounting our vision and asking for your financial and volunteer effort to support us. Don't fret, we will be doing that throughout the holiday. But I wanted to spend my time tonight on the topic of magic. And I didn't know that Rabbi Nathan would also be speaking about miracles, but my theme is similar. Tonight we all heard a difficult message from Rabbi Nathan. When Rabbi delivered a similar one to me over the summer, I have to admit I was crushed by the weight of the moment. Even though I had expected the message, in fact needed it from a transactional perspective, I was still somehow spellbound by naivet right up until the words were uttered and the spell was lifted. Maybe I thought Rabbi could deliver a miracle. As our rabbi, Nathan has been magically transforming the community. Perhaps he could move the Dutch Club to Mount Carmel, or Haifa's Rambam Hospital to Bukit Timah. Sadly, we find that there are limits to our collective powers and good fortunes, and that even inside the proverbial Singapore bubble, we still live in a harsh reality. One with medical tragedies, costly and imperfect healthcare, a complex and seemingly immoral insurance regime, all operated by mere mortals, not wizards. To stand here and think that next year Rabbi Nathan will not be with us on Rosh Hashanah feels odious and unfair, a curse. We can wallow in despair, we can be rooted by the hex. I know I have been tempted to do just that over the past few months. Yet we must look forward and try to make the very best of a very tough situation, for ourselves, for each other, for UHC and its future members, for progressive Judaism in Singapore and Southeast Asia, and for Rabbi Nathan and his family. Together, we endeavor to make this year as smooth as can be, especially for all of you with time-bound life cycle events like a bar or bat mitzvah, or for those of you expecting a child in the next 9 months, or when something less expected but life-changing happens. For instance, one of our members, George Makadal of blessed memory, passed away just last month. No doubt, it's a difficult and trying time for our community. As an example of how we are dealing with these issues, I'd like to share with you what the Thursday Minyan looks like these days, because it is a parable of all that is good about Rabbi Nathan and the UHC. The Thursday Minyan started about 3 years ago, around the time Rabbi Nathan lost his mother, Jacqueline, in a terrible accident. The weekly but haphazard Minyan became a useful tool for mourners in our community to say Kaddish during the year after losing a loved one. A bunch of us joined to support the mourners in tefillah, enjoying a delicious morning Kiddush and socializing a bit afterwards. It seems innocuous, innocent enough, but it's where I properly met Carrie Horenfeld, who later became our amazing vice president and temporary head of all too many committees. And it's where I met Dina Koppel, who manages the gabbis and ritual items and coordinates services and writes letters to ambassadors and hosts events and reads Torah. And it's where we cajoled Matt Shapiro, right here behind me, Matt Shapiro, to start leading services and to practice the dark arts of shul IT. And it's where I first met Rachel Ayland, and Cord Briggs, who lead membership and play music respectively. And it's where we got to properly know some of our newest young professional members like Blair, Ramsey, and Elsa, who are breathing fresh life into our congregation. Something special, even magical, happens when you spend time with the same group of people on a frequent and regular basis. It's a version of other corners of our vast shul. The weekly Sunday school, the Goldstein Kiddush, the Torah Club, the Women and Men's Club, and so on. You would think that without Rabbi Nathan there to lead services, the relatively fragile Thursday Minyan would fall apart, but quite the contrary. When Noam got sick, we took it upon ourselves to say the Misha Berach prayer for healing every week. Nisim Yona Ben Harab Natan Besheri, Noam's Hebrew name. Sadly, it's a name we have repeated as often as Dina's mother's, who passed away last December, or Carrie's father, who was taken in April. Most of us know the tunes sang by Rabbi Nathan for the last 5 years quite well by now, and can recite or sing a good bit of them by heart. Matt, Dina, myself, we've all led services, and I bet others could and would if push came to shove. Rabbi Nathan taught me to learn Torah a couple of years back. I now read 3 short portions almost on a weekly basis. I struggle with it, and when I'm unable, the Koppels or Josh Green or someone else shows up who can do it better. When he's not there, Rabbi sends us a write-up or video Devar Torah. I believe this yearly Torah cycle we missed 2 or maybe 3 out of the 55 minions. That's an incredible achievement. There are established synagogues with beautiful buildings around the world, including here in Singapore, who struggle and regularly fail to make those kinds of minions. They have big, beautiful buildings. We have bigger-than-life, amazing people. See, Rabbi Nathan hasn't just been leading for 5 years, he's been teaching and modeling leadership. And our community members respond by shining back brightly. Whether it's a Friday evening led by UHC's women and girls at the American Club, or a Shabbat morning at the Goldsteins led by our Gabbis and B'nai Mitzvah kids, Rabbi left us with the tools and confidence to lead ourselves again. This congregation is not unaccustomed to lay leading. It's how we operated for 20 years before Rabbi Nathan's installment into our shul. We just have to lay lead a whole lot more, now that we've grown accustomed to a more frequent rhythm of prayer, commemoration, and celebration. And it's not just services. We have the school co-chairs redesigning curriculum and reforming the school to be more inclusive. We have teams working out how to grow our space and staff and how to increase membership, do more social justice activism, keep the teens off the streets, and curate more educational programs. You've seen the packed newsletters bursting with dates and details. So thanks to this nurturing leadership, we know we will be okay this year, doing a hybrid of lay and rabbi leading. Still, we need to try and plan further into the future. We recognize this congregation requires a full-time resident rabbi to continue to grow and thrive. Therefore, the board and I have empowered longtime UHC member and past president, Catherine Siemens, to form a rabbi search committee to engage the community and work with Rabbi Nathan in order to entice candidates to consider coming to Singapore to take the reins from Rabbi Nathan when the time is right. We will be hearing from Catherine directly during Yom Kippur. It's still a hard thing for me to consider, and I'm sure many of you will have doubts and questions, but we are a community, a family, and like all families, we will stand by each other, support one another, quarrel, and drive each other absolutely crazy. That's part of the fun of being an active UHC congregant. And speaking of family, after almost 2 years serving as president of this congregation, I can say I know most of you, at least by name, and some almost as well as my own family. Just ask my wife, or better yet, don't ask. You can maybe thank her for sharing. Connie's been the best motivator and life coach. She has kept the crazy in check. See, I spent a very big portion of my time with and for the community, but I didn't start doing that as part of being a president. As a family, my 4 children, Connie and I, have been enjoying the benefits of being fully immersed congregants for many years before. And I wish that for more of you, that you could find real joy, real purpose, and real friendship in this congregation. Tonight, we honored others who have heard and took up the call before me. Past Vice President and School Co-Chair Mina Bregman, past Presidents Rebecca Weinrock and Catherine Siemens, and Naomi Ehrman, who could not be here, and immediate past President Stephanie Green. And for my closing disappearing act, I want to thank all of you for supporting our community with your membership fees, your generous donations, and your precious time, space, and hard work. I don't love schnorring from all of you all year long, but it's an important part of the board's job, and it gives our community confidence to improve and grow each year. Today's service in Kiddush is sponsored by David, Audrey, and Ariel Katz in honor of Rabbi Nathan, Shelley, and especially Noam, for whom they wish a swift and full restoration of health. Refuah shlema to Noam, Yasher koach to all of us, and Shana tova u'metuka, each and every one of you.
We have one final song, it's on page 64, that's Adon Olam. Shana Tova, wishing you all a very happy new year. We're going to continue with Kiddush just off to the side. Please all do stay afterwards dinner. Tomorrow morning our service begins at 10 o'clock sharp. Our children's service will run parallel at 11 o'clock, and we'll have Tashlich tomorrow afternoon on the island of St. Toza at 5 o'clock. Shana Tova.
How are you? Good. Yes, it's going to be very soon.
Hello.
Hi, Shana Tova.
Doing well, yeah. Your
How's
husband's
the
doing
baby?
amazing.
How's the baby?
Very good, very good. Asleep, hopefully.
They've been working hard. Shana Tova.
I best go say thank you to Gabby. I'll be back.
Shana Tova.
Yeah, but they want to go. We're going to go there first.
trying to get the kiddush as well. This is Korea.
What's that?
Korea.
Oh.
So we'll see.
Glass of wine, you must on the train, please. The square tray is wine and the round tray is grape juice. Please your pick.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri agafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, אשר בחר בנו מכל עם, ורוממנו מכל לשון, וקידשנו במצוותיו. ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו, יאהבה את יום הזיכרון הזה. יום תרועה מקרא קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ויתנו קידשת מכל העמים, ודברך אמת, וקיים לעד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך על כל הארץ, מקדש ישראל ביום הזיכרון. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. אמן. לחיים. לחיים.
Okay, let's take the challah. Can we talk about the challah?
So that final so whenever there's something
Shana Tova Umetuka, thank you for being with us. We will continue streaming tomorrow.
Shana Tova.
Mamma mia. No, digo que sin eso.